Hey guys, I'm recording a message definitely under the healing of the book category, and it's entitled Grace is Not Good Enough. It's better than that. And so the title came out, one of Barb and I's friends, Andrea, she just sent us some gems every now and then. And she was running and she said, it's not, you hear a lot of people say it's too good to be true, or they'll talk about the gospel message of too good to be true. And she goes, that's not right. The message should be, is it good enough to be true? Is it good enough to be true? Meaning, if it's not the very best, then we still have something that's not true. And so I'm going to talk about, grace or charis, um, of what the grace teaching teaches it as, and the concept of sin and what the law is, that by grace you're no longer under the law. And I'm just going to show you that's not good enough. Those are still mistranslations. And so they're still trying to make what they know works in life true fit these bad translations, and they don't fit. In fact, you're not a sinner saved by grace. That's not good enough. It's better than that. Sin was never, ever, ever anything bad or negative about yourself. There was never something bad about the law, because the law was not a set of rules. The law was always what is shot out or released carries the strength of God from the highest point of man. It's about the life that comes from the completion of intimacy. What separates out from a body is divinity. And so anyway, that's literally what it means. And so we're still trying to go, oh, there was, God had plan A, and oh, then we messed it all up because we sinned. And even this is, the grace teachers are still trying to go, all it is the only sin ever was not realizing your true identity. No, 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 no. You're born knowing your true identity, and you're taught out of it by religion. Now, grace is trying to come along and go, yeah, we've got this book and we taught you incorrectly, but hey, the good news is you were never that. That's what sin is. No, that's not even what it says. It's better than that, guys. So I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just going to show you what the original Greek and Hebrew pictographs look like and what it actually says. And your heart already knows this is true. Um, and It's just better than that. So let me just show you. You could pick any sin verse, and it's chet in Hebrew. I'll show you. This is kind of interesting. So let me just, I'll show you this. And like I said, this is a healing of your book. But if you really want to know what your book's talking about, you're not a sinner. You didn't have one set of old covenant rules. The first covenant was just man, the physical act of intimacy, and the life that is released from the highest point or resh of the man, cheris. Chet is what separates or come out of, and then resh is the highest point of man. I'll show you, is the divinity of God. Life comes from the release of the flow, from the fluid. That's what it is. One is physical intimacy, the other is the spirit coming out of your pay. Apostello Paul, Apostle Paul was not a man. Apostello Paul is the strength of God that comes out of your pay, is the spirit, guys, and it has the divinity of God to create. So let me show you this. Um, you could take any. I just picked this one because it talks about the law as well as sin. So let's just address sin too, because it says, by sin seizing its opportunity through the commandment, produced in me every kind of covetous desire. If you really go into this whole verse, it literally is this: the desire of God uh, is the life that comes out of you. It's the mark of intimacy. Sin is translated missing the mark. It's not that. It's literally the mark of the covenant, sign that the covenant of intimacy, the kind sign of covenant of love has been consummated or completed, is the release of life. That's it. Everything comes out of life and desire of this covetous desire. It's not something negative ever. Now we've made it into something negative, but it's not. So let's just go address this sin real quickly here. Sin. Amartia. I'm going to show you a couple of things here. The corresponding Hebrew is chet. Chet is the letter eight in Hebrew, or the number eight. I'm sorry, the letter eight is the eighth letter, has the number of eight, but it was the pictograph of separate. It was literally a house with a line in it. Now there's two houses. Well, it's the life that comes out of the house. It's what separates. So they said, is missing the mark to err? No, no, no. It is the mark of the covenant. There's nothing negative about sin anywhere in this. Like I said, it's better than that. But let's just look at the Greek where they get this. They have meros. I'll address this first. Meros. And again, if you understand the Greek and Hebrew, you'll get what this is saying. It means to receive one's due, your portion, to parcel out what comes out. And so, sounds good to divide. Nothing bad about it, guys. So let's go look at this. Here's this little kind of up with a U with a tail on it. And then you've got epsilon and rosh. Rosh, I'm just going to show you, is the Hebrew for the head or the highest point of man or the pinnacle, the peak. And so let's address mem and epsilon in a minute. So if you go to Greek, you can go to Greece.com. I'm just using Wikipedia. I use real simple sources so you don't realize you have to go to Bible school. All of these Hebrew and Greek pictographs were written for illiterate societies. It all went south when they translated it into spoken Greek and Hebrew, which the original Greek and Hebrew were not spoken language. They were pictographs. They were emojis. If I give you a thumbs up, you know what it means. You didn't have to understand. And this is where people get confused. Well, Jesus spoke Aramaic and all these, they're trying to fit bad translations into what they think that book says, and none of it works, guys. You got to go back to the very foundation of this thing. So let's go find this this little, there's the little U with the tail, right? So if you go look at that, mu, value of 40, mu is derived from the Egyptian language? No, it doesn't say that. It says hieroglyphic symbol for water. These are emojis, these are word pictures. When it later became a spoken language and a written language is when everything went south. This is why they can't even get Genesis 1 correct. They just leave it out because they don't have anything in their language that is het or et, where it says Bereshit bara Elohim's gods et aleph taf auto in Greek, self, 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 self. They translate it as him, his, implying there's something outside of you, this God, but it's talking about the strength of God in you. Anyway, mu was derived from the Egyptian hieroglyphic symbol for water. Okay, water, water, flow, fluid. Okay, so let's go look. Oops, I don't want to do that. I want to go to the hieroglyphic mem for water. What is it? That interesting. It's number 40. Water, might, the from the deep, comes from the flow, comes from a stream. All right. Okay, so that's mem. There's water. The next letter was epsilon, right? So if you go to epsilon here, it arose from the Phoenician hey, hey. Okay, hey. So if you go to the Phoenician hey, something shall be shown or revealed. All right, let's go back to this. And Rosh, Rosh, those last three letters is the Hebrew letter Rosh. Here's Rosh, the head, a person. What is the highest, the pinnacle, the chief? Um, yeah, important, chief, the king, the reign of the king. It's that whole idea that what comes out of the opening of the king is the strength of God. What is the highest, the head of the person? So let's go put all this together. Merosh. So mem is the fluid. You shall behold what comes from the highest point of man, the head of man. Rosh. It was actually a picture of a head. So here, guys, the highest point of man. There's two. One is the physical part of the man, the male, right? That's why you have the sacrifice of the male lamb. And it's not the killing of a male lamb, guys. That's how we interpreted it. There's no lamb bones. There's not millions of lamb bones laying around Israel. There should be millions of them. If they can find little pieces of parchment, they certainly could find a bone. They're not there. Why are they not there? Because they weren't sacrificing lambs. The sacrifice of the male was what was released in intimacy. It's good. It's good life came out of that, right? It's what was separated, what cheted. Now we just sin, you're separated from God. No, it literally says God, the strength of God separates from man and creates new life. Both physical covenants from the highest point of man, the spirit that comes out of your pay. So it literally says, you shall behold, it shall be revealed what comes out of this spirit, this flow, right? Out of the head of man. It comes out of here. It doesn't come out of our ear, it comes out of our mouth. Pay. That's where it comes. And so it says, what comes out of here is the strength of God it creates. So that's meros, to parcel out. Now, where this whole thing got screwed up, and we created a whole religion off a wrong translation, is right here. A. I've shown you this, but I'm going to show new people. Guys, you can look at this. Everything negative about man, whether it's sin, unholy, unclean, unfaithful, um, all those negative words start with A. There was nothing wrong about man. Guys, you are the highest creation of God. You always have been. Come on. You have a seed and an egg. You don't know how it happens. The sacrifice of the male comes into the garden. The seed of the male comes into the garden, the womb. And pretty soon the woman begins to show, lechem, the life or the bread that begins to show. It's show bread. There's also a manna from heaven that you can't see, bread from heaven, life that's from the highest point. Just look what it says, Hasamayim. It's heaven. It's not up there somewhere. The upper room was right here between your two cherubs in your brain, guys. I promise you. And A is not negative. I'll show you this. When it got translated into Greek language, then it can be asymmetrical. Um, but in the original Greek and Hebrew, it was the strength of God. The strength of God is meros. The strength of God is the flow that you shall behold that comes out of your head. Resh, the highest point of man, the chief, the pinnacle. So I'll show you this. Alpha, 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 alpha. Greek. You go, if you study the original Greek uh, pictographs, you'll see it read right to left. It was not a spoken language, so you can't translate it into that. You had to go, what does that picture mean? What does that picture mean? And the picture never means no or not. Strong's exhaustive concordance. As soon as you get out of Western theology, trying to make these scriptures fit what they think it says, you get down to the truth. Alpha, of Hebrew origin. Then people go, oh, it's written in Greek, it's written in Aramaic. It all came from these hieroglyphics originally. So you have to go back to the very, what did these word pictures mean? It doesn't matter if Jesus spoke Aramaic. That's not what's going on here. It has nothing to do with that. By the way, once you get that it's not a who it is, but a what, then you'll get the truth. Grace is not good enough. It's better than that, guys. Of Hebrew origin, letter of the first letter of the alphabet, right? So, okay, cool. So let's go to Greek. Alpha, derived from the Phoenician letter Aleph, which is the West Semitic word for ox or bullocks. Letter from the alpha, right? That's what it says. If you go to Greece.com in different places, it'll say means the ox or the bull from the hieroglyphic Aleph in Hebrew. It doesn't mean no or not. Ever, ever, ever. You are not a sinner saved by grace. It's a zillion times better than that. The strength of God has always been you, and it is revealed by it creates life from what comes out of you. That's it. So it's your own book says alpha comes from, it means the ox, and it came from the Hebrew Aleph. So let's go see. In order to make it mean no or not, then Hebrew must say it means no or not. If you go to left, it means the ox or the bullock. Well, weird. Weird, weird, weird. How come it doesn't mean no or not? Because it never means no or not in the original stories that we compiled into this book called the Bible. There's nothing holy about a book. The writers, it was in fragments, guys. You are the holy place. You are what's holy. The whole book's about you. The holy place is physical intimacy. As glorious as the first covenant is, it fades. 80% of the men over 40 are with erectile dysfunction. There is another resurrection or erection. I'm telling you what the whole stinking book's about, guys. It has nothing to do with what they're teaching in Bible school. Zero, nada. In fact, I'm talking to a friend. He still wants me to teach in this seminary. He's like, I know this is what it says. I'm like, no, I can't teach this there. They don't want to hear it. They want sin and hell and all the nonsense. There's no such thing. The grace message is not good enough. It never was about something negative. It's better than that, guys. I know I'm getting passionate about this, but I'm just like, no, guys, everybody's chill. Like grace just means you forgot who you were. No, because that's still like you started with the round foundation. That just means sin is something wrong with you or missing the mark, is how they try to explain it away. It was the sign or the mark of the arrow piercing, the sign that the covenant's been completed, meaning there's the highest point or the peak piercing and coming into intimacy, and the sacrifice is released. That's what it's talking about. So, alpha means the bull or the ox, okay? So, that word does not mean no share of a part of. It says the strength of the bull or the strength of God is the flow that shall be revealed that comes out of your resh head. Life comes out of that. It's not missing the mark because they say it's no. It means this is the mark of the covenant. You can be confident that seed shall not return void because that seed is the life of God and the creation of God. It creates all out of love and intimacy. All right. So let's go see law. I'm telling you, people are like, you got to live in this higher law of grace. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. There was only one story the whole time. If you get physical intimacy, that life comes out of the highest point of man and it revealed that life is in you, you'll get the second covenant, which is more intimate, which is between all men and God in the holiest of holies. Between those cherubs, there's a little gland in there. They're called the pineal. And there's an excitement, a resurrection, erection within you, and it rises up within you and creates out of your pay. I'll show you that. It's something that comes out. So something that comes sin, I just showed you it's the flow. It shall reveal the flow, a life that comes out of the head at death. This thing is talking about eternal life that comes out of you when you lay your upright stick, when the stake, when you're no longer firm, you no longer are erect, guys. You don't have the erection of God in you. What does the highest point of man do? It rests. Well, when the spirit leaves your body, that was the Antichristos. That was another anointing, guys. That was a sign, the mark of the covenant, not the mark of the beast. Good Lord. What's wrong with these people? Can they not read? Apparently not. So let's go look at this law. We just dealt with sin. It's something that comes out of you when you die. What is this? What is this law? Nomos in Greek. From Torah, 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 right? If you go look at this nomos, to parcel out, something's coming out. Something's separating. It's coming out. You know what it is? It's the shout of the Lord. It's the shout of the trumpet. The shofar has nothing to do with people going, doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. Some people do that in intimacy, but that's not what it's talking about. It's not talking about your lips on the male part, blowing the shofar, the last trumpet that shall shout. The last trumpet that shall shout is you, the Spirit of God leaving your body. It's the kingly shout. Eternal life shall be revealed as it comes out of and parcels out of your resh, merosh, sin is the strength of God to parcel out. Now, it'll say Hebrew, it comes from Torah, Torah, Torah. But it comes, if you go to Torah, I already did this just to save some time, Torah, law, instruction, teaching. No, the word origin is yara, to throw, shoot, or direct. There's something that shoots out of the highest point of man. It's not 10 rules. 10 is yod, the work, the strength of God. What is the finished work? It's finished. And you look clean of your head. That is it. That is it, guys. It means to shoot out. Something separates out of us. What is it? The seed or the flow, that mighty water that creates life. I'll show you that's what it means, literally. So it's not a divine teaching. They missed the whole thing. It means to shoot out, casting of lots, the human of a mother. Wait a minute, I thought it was Moses. Moses is my mother? What? So divine law can be from my mother? Yeah, because the body of the prophetic. Wait a minute. Come on. See, they're trying to make all these interpretations fit what they think it says, and it doesn't work. So the same thing. As soon as they get rid of all their bad interpretation, your custom, your manner. Wait, my custom, I thought it was the divine law of God. God gave me this, so it can be my custom? No, that's not what it means. After all that, if you exhaust all the BS, here's what it means: the bull or the ox. Well, hello, I just showed you what the bull and the ox means. It means alpha, which came from the Hebrew aleph, which means the ox or the bullock. I thought it was you were no longer under that one law. Now you're under the new law. No, no, no. The first covenant, it's always the same story. You are not a sinner saved by grace. Grace is not good enough. That message is not good enough. It's better than that because that message starts with something's wrong with you, missing the mark. And it is the exact opposite of that. It is the mark of God, not missing any mark. It's the mark of God is sin. You shall behold the life that comes out of the resh. And the mark of that covenant is something is released that creates life and man rests. Well, one is physical intimacy, the other is pay. The spirit comes out of your mouth that you rest, and that is the bowl. That is the strength of God. The divine law is not a rule, never will be. You are not under the old covenant law, now you're under the new covenant law. The old covenant bowl is male. The new covenant bowl is God Himself coming out of all mankind, anthropos. Hope that helps. That's a healing of the book. Sorry if I got a little passionate, but I'm just like, so like, come on, people. Your heart knows that you're divine. Your heart knows you have 80 trillion transactions per second in this divine holiest of holies between the two cherubs, the creatures of your imagination is the creative ability of God. Don't tell me we're fallen or missed the mark or we forgot who we were. You were born out of divinity and you knew who you were. Christianity teachers, other things taught you out of it. They taught you out of it. You would have no concept that you missed the mark or there was ever a missing of the mark unless somebody taught you that. I promise you. Other cultures, they come out and they go, I am the divinity of God, and things to work. It just seems to work, guys, because they're actually tied into the truth of who you've always been. The strength of God is in you. Hopefully that helps.